What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. I want to talk to you guys about something very specific today. So, many times when you're, I don't want to say starting out, but let's say you're like an intermediate, even advanced, as like a bodybuilder, fitness enthusiast, whatever the case may be, and you know a lot, like you've learned a lot, you've studied a lot, you've applied a lot, etc. But you always like wonder if there's something that you missed, right? You're always like, well, what if there's some new thing that came out? What if there's a different way of doing this that's better? And the enemy of good is better. The enemy of good is better, right? You're trying to be better. I know more. It's like you're trying to get more, and you wind up overstepping boundaries and fucking up what you already had. Now, Jerry, what are you talking about? So, there are people that I know in my life in general, and I just talked to an individual today, that, they know enough, and they should have trusted their instincts, but they don't. And they wind up going to, the gym or whatever, and seeing like this person at the gym, and they say, wow, looks pretty good, must know what he's doing, right? So they eventually wind up talking to this person and say, I'll hire you as a coach, I'll hire you as a trainer, or maybe just ask them for advice or whatever. And this person starts giving them advice, or as a coach starts instructing them, and the person in their head goes, what? Like they automatically know something is not right. They're like, whoa, that sounds fucking crazy. And they kind of look it up, and there's no information, it says it, which just because there's not a study doesn't mean it's not real, right? But they listen to this person. They go, okay, well, okay, so they listen, right? Now we're going to take a prime example of an instance in how to change this instance more for you to better understand what's going on. So you go to the gym and you're training with, let's say it's some pro bodybuilder, or not pro, it's just some bodybuilder gym that you ask for advice. And you say, I'm going to take you under my wing, cool. And you tell this person like, I'm really interested in diet and training, but I'm not a competitor. I'm really interested in getting any bigger. I just want to get leaner. And they're like, okay, cool, right? So they start training with you and stuff, and after a few weeks they go, all right, now this is what you should do. You should get on some Anavar. Anavar will make you leaner, right? And they go, Anavar? Isn't that like a steroid? Like, yeah, but it's mild. It's like the least offensive out of all of them on your body, and it'll help you get leaner. It makes you leaner. It burns fat. You're going to get leaner. And the person goes, okay. I mean, they must know what they're talking about, right? And they take this drug, and lo and behold, over the course of 8 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever, they don't get leaner. They get bigger. They get stronger, right? So they start asking questions like, when am I going to lose weight? And the person says, well, by adding a couple pounds of lean muscle, you then burn X amount of calories, and those calories that are burnt at rest are more than what you were before, so you're going to be getting leaner. So your muscle mass went up, right? And if your body fat didn't technically go up with it, it stayed the same. Technically, that reading is lower now because your body mass is higher, and the percentage-wise, it's lower. Oh my God, you lost body fat. You didn't lose body fat. You gained some muscle. But it's like the person coaching the person or instructing the person doesn't understand that. They look at the numbers and say, oh, so you lost body fat. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, no, you didn't lose body fat. The body fat percentage changed. But if you look at the body fat in pounds, it didn't change. It can even go up while your muscle mass is going up. And it would still show the percentage being lower because your body weight would be higher now with the new muscle, and the body fat didn't change. The percentage would technically be lower, even though no body fat was lost. So this person keeps training, and they're like, man, I'm fucking not looking any leaner. I don't look any better. Oh, but look at these readings right here. Here's your readings right here. Oh, see, your body fat percentage has gone down. You were at 14%, now you're at 13.5. Look at that. It's going down. Fucking scam. Big fucking scam, right? Now, maybe the fucking trainer is dumb enough that they really don't understand it. That's a good possibility. There's a lot of people out there that are training and coaching people that not only are they not qualified, they don't even have a fucking website. They're not training people in the fucking gym. They're like writing plans, and like they take a cookie cutter that they got from some other fucking trainer, they copy it and they send it to people. DM me for details, DM me for workouts, DM me. What the fuck is this? You're running a business and you're a professional coach and you don't have a fucking website? What the fuck? I'm like, it's so easy to get a website made nowadays, right? Make any sense? No sense. Anyways. And I was talking to an individual, and they were like, man, I wish I had, I wish I had understood that before I had embarked on this part of the journey. I said, well, now's the time to put out a way to identify the bullshit, a way to keep yourself out of those situations, a way to expose whoever the fuck is telling you what to do, whether or not they actually know, okay? So, step by step, I'm going to walk you guys through it. So, let's go back in time. This person that told me the story, let's go back in time. You walk in the gym, you meet this individual, and you start thinking, oh, I want to get leaner, I don't want to get any bigger. And this person says, oh, okay, cool. They start training you. They start training you heavy. They start, doing everything that you got to do that you weren't doing before. And then they tell you to take Anavar, right? And instead of being like, oh, okay. And they say, well, if you gain a little bit of muscle, increases your metabolism, cool. But can you tell me chemically how it burns fat? How it is going to burn more fat? Not the fact that I build muscle, all right, because I understand that. But how am I going to lose 20 pounds of fat by taking Anavar? What are the mechanisms? How does it work? And not by increasing my muscle mass, because technically you're increasing muscle mass. You're not losing fat, right? So can you tell me? And then the person's going to have one of two choices. Either make up some kind of random bullshit about the fact that your body temperature goes up or whatever, or they're going to have to say, well, it really doesn't. I mean, it doesn't burn fat per se. Now you're getting to the nitty-gritty of what the fuck is going on. Okay, it doesn't burn fat, but I just told you I want to get leaner. Right, but I don't want to gain any muscle mass. I don't want to be bigger. If I gain like a half a pound, I'm fine. But I don't want to put on 5 or 6 pounds of muscle mass. That's not what I want to do. So without putting on that muscle, will Anavar still burn fat off my body without putting muscle on it? I don't want that extra muscle. And they're going to either talk around it because they don't know what to fucking say, or they're going to be like, no, you have to put the muscle on. Done. Therefore, no longer do you think Anavar is a fat loss drug or a fat loss product. You now realize it is anabolic, which means building muscle, and not thermogenic. There's nothing thermogenic about Anavar, but when presented, and this is the part that sucks. So many of these people that take these drugs, suggest these drugs, sell these drugs, whatever, don't really understand what the fuck they're talking about. They have like an internet basic education on it where they get it from people themselves don't know what the fuck is going on. Now, I gotta, really hammer home the fact that when I was coming up, we had Dan Duchaine. And Dan Duchaine basically experimented with all of these different drugs on himself, multiple bodybuilders, and he would feed everybody the information. Now, once we get that information, his was very scientifically sound, because the first thing that Dan Duchaine did was he got the steroid, the anabolic steroid, the drug, whatever it was. He took the package insert out. He read the package insert about what this thing does medically, right? He then went to study more about what that drug does medically before applying it to a bodybuilder, knowing what it does. Rather than just, oh, I take this and I get bigger. No, he knew the mechanisms and the actions, how, and he explained it to us how these things worked, which is why we knew how clenbuterol works. You ask the average person, how's clen work? Oh, it burns fat. Okay, how? You burn more calories, it burns more fat. It amps you up, it gives you energy. No. Clenbuterol itself activates the brown fat, which is between your shoulder blades and your body, which actually increases your metabolism, or your technically your body temperature a half a degree to a degree, which in turn burns more calories. Even at rest, it's a stimulant. That's how it works. It's a beta-2 antagonist. It is not the same thing as you take it and all of a sudden, like DMP, it just burns fat off your body. It doesn't work like that. There's a process in how it works. Now, the reason why we know that is through Dan Duchaine teaching us throughout the years, and we were able to pass that information along and have these real forums back in the day where one of us would present a drug and everybody in the place would fucking do all their own research and bring it together. And we would discuss these different things and how they worked and what Dan Duchaine had found out and what we found in the medical inserts. We had real discussions about things that medically, how you would use these things to treat an ailment and how we would apply them to bodybuilding based on what they do in that medical ailment, right? This is a lot more in depth than these fucking knuckleheads nowadays saying, Anavar burns fat, or fat. You're like, what? Like, what the fuck? I mean, I can't stress enough that if you ask the right questions, you will expose the person telling you the bullshit. Ask enough questions. Even if they're not the right questions, keep asking, because they're not going to make sense. If you keep asking about Anavar, you're eventually going to get to the point where Anavar does not burn fat. Anavar does not burn calories on its own. It does create more CP, which is creatine phosphate, so it does increase strength. Did you also know that if you mix certain amino acids that are ATP precursors and creatine precursors, that you can actually increase the effectiveness of that Anavar strength-wise? So there's an application for Anavar with powerlifting, bodybuilding, athletics, and anorexia. There are many different ways to use it. It doesn't just burn fat. But that's the thing is, people that they think because the pre-contest bodybuilders take it and they get so shredded and so grainy, oh, the Anavar is burning fat. They don't realize that, first of all, they're on fucking 10 other compounds They've already dieted their ass off and done 2 hours of cardio a day for like 4 months. And then they add these drugs in and their body gets harder based on the muscle itself looks denser when it's already lean. It's not the Anavar that did that. It's not halotestin that burns fat. These drugs make you harder when you're already lean. So you must burn fat because that person got leaner. They didn't get leaner, they got denser when their skin was already super paper thin. Then they go, okay, and they apply it. They don't even take the time to understand the mechanism of the drugs, how it can be used, they don't understand the pharmacology, they understand none of it, and you're taking advice from them. Because you don't know. It's like going to a mechanic. I don't know much about cars. So whatever the fuck that mechanic tells me, I'm like, okay. Then I tell my brother who's a mechanic, he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he goes through all this other shit, and I'm like, oh, I get scammed. Like, that's what happened, right? Happens all the time with many things. This just happens to be something I know about. So you're not stupid if you get taken for a ride. You're not stupid if you listen to these people. You're seeking new information that you want, that you feel like you need. But the problem is you really can't filter through the bullshit to know who's telling the truth and who's not. Who knows? I mean, it's not that they're lying. It's that they're not educated on it. They really don't know. They don't have the experience themselves with it. They've never delved into where this stuff came from, how it was created, how it's used, who's using it, what the different brands are, what the different types of vehicles used, whether it's oral, like they don't give a fuck about any of it. They dumb it down to like, take steroids, lift weights, get big. Like that's what they dumb it down to. And then you're asking them questions, trying to learn from them. They hardly know anything themselves. So be aware, guys. If you come in contact with one of these people and you're trying to learn, ask questions. Ask and ask and ask and ask until you get the answers that you're satisfied with. Because the problem is, people ask questions and it doesn't sit right with them, but then they're scared to ask another question to challenge that person's answer. Why? Like, you're not challenging it if there's more to the story. If you ask a person something and they tell you, but you feel like there's more, ask, what about this? What about that? What about this? Because there's more to it. Maybe that person doesn't know. That'll show you that, hey, maybe this isn't the person I should be listening to. They don't really know exactly what they're talking about. They know a couple of things. I need to go research this more on my own. And you'll probably get more out of it researching on your own and reading the different things online. And I don't mean bodybuilding things. Reading how the different drugs are used, reading how the different diets work, how the different cardio, reading how this stuff works, you'll get further like that than asking somebody at the gym. Because that somebody at the gym may only have one point of view. They may not have multiple point of views as well as multiple knowledge on that same situation. And they're just going to feed you what they know, which may be this much. You might have known this much and they give you this much and you're like, fuck, that doesn't make any sense. You might actually know more than the person that you're actually asking, which is a whole other topic altogether. So be aware, guys, there is a lot of stuff out there that doesn't make fucking sense. And you don't have to just take it for fucking face value. You don't have to just be like, okay, that person said Anavar makes you leaner. That's not how it works. Ask why, how, what's the mechanisms, biologically, how does it work? How does the drug work? Is there any toxicity? What are the possible side effects from it? Have you ever seen anybody have side effects that other people didn't, right? I mean, because there's so much out there that information-wise that could be helpful to you, but the problem is sometimes the source you're getting it doesn't have that information, but Google does. So to be honest with you, you're better off Googling and staying away from forums, staying away from the people in the gym. You just don't know what you're getting. But if you stick to the actual pharmacology and understanding the drugs, how they work, or the diet, or the training, like actually understand how they work when you're taking it, when you're doing it, when you're eating it, whatever the case may be, you're going to be so much further ahead than the people in the gym that I pick things up and put them down. Like, that's not a joke. Like, that's a reality-based meme, based on how some of these people really are. So trust your instincts, be true to yourself, ask questions, and if you're not satisfied, keep asking. BusterTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. BusterTraining.com is a blog. It's the Keep Asking Bicep, and we are